Mr. James and Mr. Cal.
Please join with national anthem and play. With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Rupp.
Dear Lord, we love you. We thank you for this day. We thank you for everything you've given us. We thank you for the food that's been prepared. Bless our bodies and our bodies thy service for us. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you, Brother Rick. Y'all having a great day today, I hope. It's Monday. Yeah. Did your team win last night? Yeah. Any surprises? No? Yeah, I guess I should have talked you all on the bet line. Y'all got it all predicted. Anyway, we bet on NFL anyway. Good news, bad news. I guess this is not the time of the year to get married because we have no anniversary to celebrate. Great news is we've got some great birthdays to celebrate. Mr. John Watson on February the 12th, almost a Valentine's baby, along with Brandon Hurst on February the 13th. George Flowers, he missed Valentine's Day here, February 17th. John Stingsman, February the 19th. And I'll call this the triple threat birthday celebration. It's Marcus Cannon, Stephanie Crow, Davis Flowers, all on February the 20th. Hope you all have a fantastic week. Thank you.
Miss Valerie Gambasket. No, you're right. I did that wrong. No, Alex, you gotta go away.
Okay, that's fine. I go away.
Miss Valerie, introduction of guests. I know. We gotta have a little fun on Mondays. You better one of the day.
We are happy to welcome our guests and visiting Rotarians. When I call your name, would you please stand and remain standing until all visitors are recognized? Josh Wady, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Josh Wady is a guest of the club. Welcome. Ryan Deaton, again, I hope that I am pronouncing that correctly, is a guest of Alan Richards. Visiting Rotarian is Brandon Shute. Welcome. Thank you for visiting with the Dothan Rotary Club today. Thank you.
All right, Alex. You like to need a little extra walk in your step today? 430 points today.
Zero, 6, 2, 6.
0626. 0626. Winner, winner.
Make sure that's right.
We got a winner.
Okay.
Oh, which one? There's two of them.
Big time.
Got 5 of diamonds.
$5. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Les, if you, there you are.
I promised you I would be back when I knew more about our late Rotary Member Stand Session celebration. It is scheduled for this Sunday. And yes, I know this is a holiday weekend, but that's when it's scheduled. It will be at celebrations at Jones Crossing from 2 to 5 p.m. on Sunday. That's on Fortner Street, 5900 Fortner Street. If you would like to go, if you let me know, there's also a link I can send you to so that they can get a head count. But that would be Stan's celebration. We're doing it the way he desired. It'll be next Sunday afternoon from 2 to 5 at Jones Crossing. Thank you.
Thank you, Les. Mr. Allen Richard. Little Rotary Minute information.
Thank you, President Rick. Just wanted to share with you a Rotary Minute. This is a history minute. Rotary in the United Nations. Rotary was present at the start of the United Nations in 1945. Rotary International was one of 42 organizations invited to serve as consultants to the U.S. delegation to the United Nations. This conference on international organization was in San Francisco, California, commonly called the UN Charter Conference. Additionally, many Rotary members and honorary members from around the world attended the conference as members of and consultants to their nation's delegations. Rotary and the United Nations remain committed to creating lasting change that enhances international relationships, improves lives and communities, and creates a more peaceful world. Today, Rotary International holds the highest consultative status offered to a non-governmental organization by the UN's Economic and Social Council. The Rotary Representative Network, established in 1991, maintains and furthers the relationship with several UN bodies, programs, commissions, and agencies. That's Rotary Minute this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. And Ms. Kelly Fallon for our introduction about this.
All right, well, I am happy today to present my friend and someone who I think most of us have come to know fairly well, or at least know the name. He hasn't learned yet not to give me a written introduction, so he doesn't know not to put a microphone in my hand without a script. But he is the head coach of our Dothan United Dragons. Hopefully some of you, and I always love to do this. How many of you actually were able to go see a game last year? Okay, so those hands that did not raise, I'm going to ask that again after this season. So I want everybody's hand in the air because you will thoroughly enjoy it. I promise you that. I met Carl, I guess about a year ago now, at I think it was the introduction of the coaches. My friend Stephen Durham had invited me to come, and so I went and got to meet the coaching staff and all of that. And of course, you'll hear if you've not heard him speak. My immediate thought was, who is this young guy with this thick English accent? And but he knows the city now. He is from Dothan. We are going to just claim him. But knowing nothing about soccer, I've thoroughly enjoyed trying to learn about soccer and learning. But I can easily say that we are extremely lucky to have Carl in the city with us and the head coach of our team. Not because I think he's a great soccer coach, because I don't know if he is or not, I don't know anything about soccer. But I would dare you to find someone with more passion who wants this to be the best soccer program that he can make it to be. Been very impressed with that. He is extremely dedicated and extremely passionate about making not just soccer great, but Dothan United great. So I'd like to introduce at this time my friend Carl Reynolds.
Guys, I'm going to try and talk without the microphone because I feel like if I shout in the microphone, it might be a bit overbearing. Kelly, thank you so much. Probably the kindest word she's ever said to me or about me. So, yeah, she's right. Obviously, I'm a long way from home, but Dothan and the United States have become home. I'm a dual citizen now. You'll see I sing the national anthem like you guys, pledge allegiance like you guys. This area, this country has afforded me opportunities that I couldn't have ever imagined for myself. And obviously my job is to continue to elevate myself and those, around me that I'm involved with as much as possible. I am probably one of the last from my generation that was brought up on, if you want it, go get it. It's hard work, it beats everything. And I think you'll probably hopefully see from this presentation that that's exactly how I try and operate on a daily basis. Everything is built around the work that's put in and having a vision and then just chasing it. And you don't have to be a soccer fan yet. I'd imagine if you come to a few games, you will be, particularly this year, because I think it's going to be even more special. You don't even have to be a sports fan. I've tried to kind of design this presentation to give an idea of just the process of recruiting as a whole and all the detail that goes into that. And obviously some of this will be soccer specific, but a lot of it is just in general. So my hope is you just get some value out of that and to teach you a little bit about the most incredible organization, Dothan United, and the guys that afford it to life. So for me, I came in, when was that? February last year. In fact, I didn't even know where Dothan was at the time. And I came in and I was sold on this project to bring the most professional environment of sports to Dothan. I fell in love with the place instantly. We didn't have a lot of time to recruit, unfortunately, but we made the best of what we had. And we had, in my words, probably a semi-successful season. I think on the field, I'm used to winning. So if we don't win championships, to me, it's a little bit of a failure. But off the field, in terms of the way that we were able to integrate the organization with the community and so on, was beyond my wildest dreams. So ultimately, everything since the end of that season leading up to now has been about trying to recruit the best playing staff possible to continue to elevate Dothan and give us the best opportunity to win championships, but also to just do the city proud. So we sat down after the season. I did what I call a post-mortem. For obvious reasons, it was everything about the season: what went right, what went wrong, how do we learn, and a lot of that came down to the recruitment and the recruitment of the players that we were bringing in and what they could give us on the field, but more so what they could give us off the field as well in terms of their behavioural attributes and what really fits the Dothan community that I've learned and become to love. So what I did is I sat down, we created a recruiting paradigm. So essentially what that was how are we going to recruit? Why are we going to do it this way? And then we did the process, okay, which was the when, the where, who was going to take part in dealing with all the nuances that go into this. So my recruiting paradigm, everything that I've ever done is based off of OST, which is objective, strategy, and tactics. Okay, so essentially it's what's the objective, what's the strategy to meet that objective, what are the small tactics that go into doing that. So in simple terms, if my objective is I want to lose weight, my strategy might be I'm going to work out more and I'm going to eat less. And tactics to that might be I'm going to take the stairs instead of the elevator. Okay, so what we did is we sat down and we created the objective. So the objective was really simple. We want to recruit the best players and people with the goal of bringing championships to Dothan. The strategy behind that was watch as many games, have as many conversations with coaches, scouts, analysts, agents, and within my network as possible to get as many names and as many options on the table as we possibly could. And then our tactics were anything and everything that will maximize our resources. So that being, we needed to create a recruiting team. So I have a fantastic staff, but not everybody is brilliant in terms of the recruiting side. Everybody has their own idiosyncrasies and they do really, really well. So what I needed to do is I needed to create a recruiting team within that staff that took charge of that process and then allow others to do other things that we felt more suit their skill set and so on. We needed to create a clear process, which I will take you through shortly. We needed to have a clarity in terms of the positional profile. So what do we want our forward to look like? What do we want our goalkeeper to look like? The behavioral habits were a really, really big one that we delved into this year. What are the fans, what are the community going to attach themselves to, and what are they not going to attach themselves to? We needed to make sure that we brought in the right people, not just the right players. And then ultimately, we needed to use what our eyes were telling us, what our ears were telling us, and then we lean a lot on statistics as well when it comes to bringing these players in and those statistics hitting what it is that we need for those particular positions. So then it became about the process. So first of all, the players have to fit what we need in terms of a soccer player. Okay, there's a certain level that you need to be at in order to play for Dothan and to play in the USL. Obviously, that weeds out a lot of players straight away. Once we've identified those players, it was then about we need to do our due diligence on those players. So we need to speak to anybody and everybody that knew of them, what they're like off the field, what they're like on the field. That could be family, that could be friends, that could be coaches, former coaches, agents, anybody that could give us any type of information we need to enable us to move on. If from those conversations, everything seemed positive, we would then make initial contact, which is really simply asking them questions, letting them do a lot of the talking, and allowing them to understand that it's a real privilege to be here. And we wanted to hear as much about them and what they knew about the project as possible and what their goals were for themselves. If after that meeting, again, everything seemed very positive, we would then set up a second contact, which is essentially us getting on a Zoom call and taking them through everything Dothan United, whether that be the community side, the training environment, the housing situation, where they fit what we want. Again, a big thing with me is nobody knows how much you care. Nobody knows how much you know until they know how much you care. So we needed to let them know where they fit for us. Not just, hey, you're a good player, come play for us, but why? Why do you fit what we want? From there, we would then sit down in the recruitment team. We'd look at the pros, we'd look at the cons of bringing that particular individual in. And if everything looked good, we would go through the offer. Obviously, wait for them to make a decision on that, and then we would take them through the onboarding process and everything that goes into that. So, fitting the playing profile. Over the last 9-10 months, whatever it's been, myself and the recruiting team have created a huge Google Doc spreadsheet. At one point, it was about 127 names across the world that we had identified that fit what we wanted in terms of the playing profile. Within that document, as you can see a little snippet of it here, we had all their basic details, where they were playing, whatever the contact might look like, what their age was, obviously where they were born, so on. And then from there, what we needed to do is it wasn't good enough for us just to have a list of names, okay? It can be really overwhelming just to have those list of names. So what we did is we started to create the positional profile. So I'll liken it to this. If you were trying to create a team to win the Super Bowl last night, everybody in their head would have an idea of what that quarterback would look like for them. Everybody would have an idea of what the kicker would look like, the running back, so on and so forth. What we did is we had an idea in every one of the 11 positions of exactly the type of player that we wanted to bring in. And what it did is it straight away clarified exactly what we were looking for positionally within that area of the field. So from there, we could then look at it and go, does this player in that position have these attributes? Okay. And we would just weed down. So you can see from here, like the lines of red are people that we've eventually decided not to go with. That could be for a number of reasons. The ones in light blue are players that we just ended up signing. And then the ones in between are ones that we're still communicating with and so on and so forth. So it was a really clear process of how we went about this. So the recruiting team and then doing our due diligence. The guy above me, Danny, is actually my brother. He played at the University of Louisville. He was drafted into the Major League Soccer, played professionally in Major League Soccer for a while. He played in the USL Championship as well. He has since become a sports agent. So obviously that really helps in terms of the connections. And the big thing with Danny is he obviously knows me, and he knows me really, really well. And he actually played for me years ago before he was drafted. So he can kind of speak to these players, not only from a playing side, but also from the personal side as well. So what we tend to do is we tend to use him as the initial contact. So he reaches out on behalf of me and on behalf of the club, and he will chat with them, player to player, agent to player, whatever you want to call it. And it will be a really basic chat. But by the end of that chat, 15, 20 minutes, he will have a really clear idea whether this is somebody that, number one, will mesh with me. Whether it's somebody that has the personal, the behavioral attributes that are going to want to come into Dothan, give what I believe is needed. And he can almost weed out the ones that we don't feel like are going to be successful. And let me tell you, we've had All-Americans, we've had former draft picks that we've decided not to go with simply because behaviorally, if I can speak, they haven't met the criteria that it is that we want to bring into this soccer club. So we will reach out to the coaches, to the agents, former teammates, families. I will do a lot of statistics work, which I'll get to in a minute. We'll reach out to past teams and so on, and he will make that initial contact and do that due diligence. The initial contact part is essentially where they talk. So we will ask them certain questions. One, we want to know about their family straight away. We want to know what their upbringing was like, how close are they to their family, so on and so forth. We see this as a really big family in terms of Dothan United and the staff and the players and the community. So we want to kind of get a feel for what their relationship is like with their family and so on. We want to know what they know about Dothan United. Some players will know a lot. Some players will never have heard of it. It's just where we are in our growth as an organisation. And then you have to understand that sometimes we're speaking to players all the way over across other sides of the world that maybe haven't even been to the United States. So asking them to know a lot about Dothan United is obviously quite difficult. Huge part is we want to know what they're looking for. If what they're looking for does not align with what it is that we're looking for and what we're trying to do with this organisation, then obviously that marriage won't work. So it's really good for us to ask that question right off the bat and get a really good understanding as to what they're looking for, what they would like out of their season, where are they at in their journey, and so on. And then I always ask, why should we sign you? Because ultimately we want the right person, but we want people that have belief in their abilities. And a big part of coming to us is being able to sell yourself. What do you bring that maybe other people don't bring? And we always get some really, really cool, unique answers, which I could probably share at another time. Ultimately, it comes down to this question. After that phone call, is this a person that we see or want walking through the corridor every day? That's the basic question that we'll ask ourselves at the end of that conversation. And the reason for it is really simple. I'm going to see the team, my staff, Eric, Steve, Aaron, all of these people more than I'm going to see my kids, my family, for 4 or 5 months. So if we don't see you as a person walking through the corridor, then there's no reason for us to continue to have that conversation. They've got to be a person that we want to spend time with and that align with what it is that we're trying to do. The second part of it, if everything looks well from there, is it becomes the second contact. So for us, that's now where we talk. That's where we're now trying to sell Dothan United, the community, the staff, everything that we're building. We're now trying to sell that to them. We obviously clearly have a real belief that this person is not only the person, but the player that we want to bring in. So now it's about us selling ourselves and using anything and everything that we possibly can to do that. So what I created was a recruiting pitch, essentially. It's a keynote. And every single player that we've recruited has their own personal one. So the one that you're going to see now, which nobody really gets to see, is for a particular player that we've signed. As of the last meeting I did, and I haven't redone it, whenever we've pitched this to a player, right now we have 89.6% confirmed rate, which essentially means 89.6% of the time that we present this, a player will sign this. And I really put a lot of it down to, one, you'll see from the pictures, the videos, the clips, there's no way that you wouldn't want to come and play here. Number two, we really go into why you, and we make it personal. And I think that that's a really, really key thing when it comes to recruiting is we want this to be personal about you and us. It's not about anyone else at that point. So first of all, we'll talk about our mission. So everybody wants to hear we want to win games, we want to win championships, and I don't think there's a team in the country that isn't saying that to players they're recruiting. But what we're saying is we want to be the most professional environment in the country. So there are 100 and what teams in the country at this level. We want to be the most professional environment that anybody can find at this level. And that doesn't just come from the winning and losing. That comes from the environment that we create in terms of training, the environment that we create in terms of the way that we look after them, and the housing situation, the physiotherapists, how we feed them, everything that goes in to, again, treating them like professional athletes. The other thing as well was the community engagement. People want to go somewhere where they feel like the community is really behind them and they've got something to really play for. So over the last year that this has been in existence, what we've really been trying to do is in every single facet of what we do, we want to be the most professional environment there is in the country. And we feel like if we do that in every facet of what we do, it just bleeds over to the field. Again, some of the players that we recruit will know this, okay? But this is essentially the soccer pyramid in the United States. Some of the players that we recruit to have no idea because, again, they've never been here. So what we do is we give them an idea of the levels. We've obviously made Major League Soccer being the top level. And then where we are in terms of the levels of semi-professional and professional soccer. And we'll kind of paint that picture as to where we're at, but we'll also paint the picture of the aspirations of the club to move up 1, 2 of those levels as we continue to grow and that community involvement becomes huge for them. The other thing that we sell them on is soccer is probably at the highest point that it's ever been in the United States, with the superstars that are now coming over to play in the MLS. And then obviously the fact that the World Cup in 2026 is coming to the United States, which means all eyes of the world become on the United States and the biggest tournament on the planet. So we try and sell them on the fact that not only is this the right place, but it's also the right time as well. And then the fun part. Where are we? And again, if they were anything like me, they had absolutely no idea where Dothan was. So we put a map out there, we put pictures of Dothan, and we talked to them about the location. And one of the first things, I'll be honest, that I tell them is we're not that far from the beach. Because they tend to enjoy that. They don't realize they'll have no time to go to the beach. But we let them know that they're fairly close, so that's nice. But honestly, we start to sell them on the location. we start to sell them on everything that Dothan has to offer in terms of, these kids are coming from all over the world. So the different types of restaurants, the eclectic group of things that they have to do within the town, whether it be to stay active with nature walks, with playing tennis, playing pickleball, whether it be the water park, the adventure land, whatever it is, we sell it, okay? And we obviously then start to sell as well the travel and where we go in terms of away trips, and let them know how far that is and how we get there and so on. So it really paints a clear picture of what it is and where it is that they're walking into. And then we talk about the community. We've obviously had some unbelievable people and companies that have given so much to the community, and we'll really highlight who we are and how the community plays a massive part in that. And this is just pictures of, again, businesses within the community really giving back to this team. Some of these players are thousands of miles from home. So to make it feel like home for the season is really, really special. And we just talk about it. You really can't go into gas stations or anywhere without seeing the logo and without people really saying hello and welcome them to the area. Obviously, we'll go into what our conference looks like and the teams that we play. I had a question the last time I was speaking about, some of the teams that we play and where they're based, so I'll take you through that really quick. Asheville, North Carolina, Birmingham Legion, Tennessee Soccer Club out of Nashville, Montgomery United, Athens United, East Atlanta, SSA, which is based in Atlanta, Apotheos, which is based in Atlanta, and newly Columbus United as well. So we'll talk them through those teams. We'll talk them through our belief that we'll finish at the top of that conference and why we feel like we will with the players that we're bringing in and so on. And then we'll start to talk about the schedule and what that looks like. And one thing that we always highlight to them, which we'll highlight to you today, is that home opener, because we really believe that home opener will just be a really, really special day. So May 17th at home to Montgomery. We'll have gone away in the previous games before that. But we'll start again going through that schedule. What does it look like on a weekly basis for you? When do you get your free time? Because obviously they need to be able to be human beings as well. But again, what does that schedule look like? What does a day in the life look like? And we're really trying to sell that. We obviously then delve into the facilities that we have, the stadium, obviously the gym facilities that they can use at Crunch Fitness. So we talk to them about, just the state-of-the-art facilities, locker rooms, everything that they get when they get here, and all the branding and obviously advertising that comes with that. We've been able to kind of play around with the locker rooms. We have such a big space, so you'll notice everybody gets their own locker. They get all the gear that they need and want. They have like a players' lounge area that they can all relax in, video analysis areas. Again, everything that you would possibly need as a soccer player, and obviously everything that you could possibly want. The other thing that the club do, Chef Kim does an unbelievable job of providing them breakfast before training, lunch after training. Is obviously a big part for these guys is they've got to be fit, they've got to be eating the right things. Recovery is huge, so we need to make sure that we look after them. So she does a great job, and everything is based out of the stadium. So that's a really good selling point for us, because in so many other areas across the country, players are having to go all over the place, whereas for us, we have our home base, and that's where we're based out of the entire summer. And for the players, that's a really big thing for them, because they feel like they've got a home to go to, and somewhere to turn up to work every day. The housing situation for them is phenomenal. Steve's done an incredible job of hammering down the housing situation for them and making sure, again, they're such a long way from home that when they are done with work for the day, they can go somewhere where they feel like is their place, and somewhere that they can relax, enjoy themselves, where they have Wi-Fi, where they can speak to their families and so on. As you can see, swimming pool fully furnished. Everybody gets their own rooms and areas. So these guys get to come in and again, they have a really, really comfortable life outside of everything that we're asking of them. They get really, really looked after. And it's in a good area downtown, so they get to go to the coffee shops and the restaurants and so on. And that's obviously nice for them because we want them to have a life outside of playing. We want them to be in the community and really learning what it's like to live in Dothan, Alabama. So we'll always take them through what they can expect from us before our expectations on them, because it's very much a marriage and we want to make sure that if we're giving you this, we expect this. So again, we'll talk through the state-of-the-art facilities, the training equipment. We'll always talk about the community and the fan base. That's the biggest sell for sure. They're so well looked after in terms of their training gear, tablets, everything after training gets washed and everything for them. Athletic training staff, athletic training rooms, if they need whatever it is to make sure that they're at optimum shape to be able to perform, then they get it. They'll get full use of the stadium and the training fields and everything else. A lot of these guys will want to come out on their own and do their own bits as well. The food that's provided, the gym memberships that's provided, again, everything that they need for us to create the most professional environment, everything that they need to be successful. And then we'll talk about us and our expectations for us. So what you'll find is as these guys start to be announced over the next few weeks, a lot of them are, although coming from different places, are in very, very similar parts or times in their career. So they may have just been released or they haven't had their contract renewed at another club. They might be a big-time college somewhere and their hope is to get drafted in the next year or two. All of them are in a position where they've got something to prove. And what we want to do is we want to lean on that and use Dothan to allow them to prove it. And we think that, again, that can be that really, really good marriage. So we want players that are going to come in determined with something to prove. Because if we get those players, that's really a good base for us to lean on. They have to understand the responsibility that comes with being here. The responsibility of representing the community, representing the kids here, representing you guys. The fact that we're going to get thousands of people out to Rip Hughes every game, there's a real responsibility to that, and they shouldn't take that for granted for sure. So they have to understand that coming in, and if they don't understand it, then they don't come in. They have to be really approachable because, again, if someone's saying hello to them in the street, in Walmart, at the games, whatever, a big thing for us is we want them to engage with everybody and anybody that wants to learn or knows about Dothan United. So they have to be approachable. They have to be willing to come to things like this and speak to people like you to be able to, again, allow you guys to learn a little bit about their culture, but then also similarly, they learn a little bit about, you learn a little bit about them. They learn a little bit about you. And again, allow them to be approachable enough to do that. Grateful. There is nothing worse as a coach than having a player that takes and doesn't want to give anything. So for me, again, if they're not grateful, they're not here. Not too worried about making those decisions as and when we need to. We had a particular player last year that I didn't feel was living up to everything that we were giving. So the next day they were gone. We're not going to play those games. It's a real honor to be here. So they need to make sure that they're grateful enough to understand that. They have to be obsessed with what they do. As you can probably see, I love this. Every single day is a learning day for me. Real student of the game, and that's what we want to bring in. So they have to be obsessed with what they do. And then not everything within the season is going to be plain sailing. So we need to make sure that we have the players that are going to come in and want to never, ever give up. And I think, like last season, I always say, the last game of the season, we ended up tying the game, which is never nice. We want to win every game. But it was probably the most proud that I was of the players for the entire summer, simply because we were 3 down at halftime. And the reaction from the players was nothing short of incredible. And to be able to come back really signified what it was that we wanted to create for this season. So that never say die attitude became a huge part of that. And then finally, the fan base. The big question I get asked all the time by them is, you know, is this fan base something that only happens in 1 game, 2 games a season? And we have to try and obviously cleverly show them that, that's not the case. We're getting thousands of people out every week. As the season went on last year, it was like the crowds were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we'll show them these pictures because if you're not a soccer player that wants to play in this sort of environment every single week, then again, you just don't need to be here. So usually when we're showing these pictures, we start to show, if it comes on now, videos. We always talked about our crowd being the 12th man. And we'll show them videos of us playing, of us scoring, because you can really feel that environment. Unfortunately, you guys aren't really able to hear it, but you can really feel the environment when we score. And again, if that doesn't get the blood flowing as a soccer player or any type of sports fan, then again, you probably don't deserve or need to be here representing us. And then before we go into them, we'll talk about the training environment, because again, they want to know what we can do for them to elevate their game. I'm absolutely relentless in terms of training. We will clip 1 million video clips a day for individual players, for the team, to make sure that we're absolutely optimizing the time that we get with them off the field as well as on the field. My big philosophy as a coach, my overwhelming philosophy, is if I can improve the individual, I'll improve the team. So every single day, we will sit down with individuals, we will communicate with individuals in how can we elevate their game, how can we turn some barriers into strengths, how can we turn some strengths into super strengths, because again, it's not only then helping them as an individual, they're now helping the team, and that helps everyone. So the training environment is huge for us. This is just a really, really quick example of this is me on a license back in England that I was taking, but just the detail that we will go through, and a lot of this won't mean too much to you guys, obviously not soccer coaches, but again, you can see the detail that we'll go through in terms of our principles and our philosophy and the way that we want to play in every single phase within the game. And for them, it highlights that by obviously being able to see it, because a lot of these guys are visual learners. They can't just take it in through hearing. They have to be able to see it. We talk about the incredible staff, obviously the ownership that we have. Steve Donner, I can't speak highly enough of him and everything he's been for me, but also for this club. No one will understand the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes. So we talk about him. We talk about this not being his first rodeo. If you haven't seen already, he's had an unbelievable amount of success within sports in different franchises. So they're not coming into something that hasn't been done before. This is a guy that's been there and done it. And his dream is to do it in Dothan. We speak about, obviously, Mike Schmidt, who all of you will know, and how incredible he was, particularly in my hiring process. And then Eric Easley, who's not here today, we talk about those three and what they bring to the table and the experiences that they've had and how well they look after not only the staff but the players. We'll talk about the front office and everybody's role within the front office, from ticket managers to obviously the sponsorship, social media, chef, whatever it is. We'll take them through everybody's role so that they can see that there's a real supporting staff behind this. In any sport, you watched the Super Bowl last night, there was no video or anything of the social media manager of the Eagles. There was no video of the chef of the Eagles, none of that. They're the unsung heroes. They're the ones that do so much work every day and really don't get any type of reward for that. So we want to highlight them, because they're a massive, massive part of what we do. And then obviously we'll speak about my staff. And I'm fortunate enough to have an incredible staff that delve into all the different nuances of what it is that we need, whether it be performance, kinesiology, whether it be opposition analysis, whether it be equipment, athletic training, goalkeeping. I have a staff and a member that's really specific to all of those roles. Because again, if we want to be the most professional environment, then we have to make sure that we provide the staff that can do that. And then we'll go into them. And this is the part that they all love, because now we're talking about them specifically. We'll go into where we feel like they'll fit in terms of our system. So what you'll see here is a forward that we're bringing in from New England. We'll talk to him about how he will play in certain structures of ours, why we feel like he will fit that role. And then we'll also clip the video to kind of back up what it is that we're saying based off of the statistics. So I have one of the best, probably the best soccer platforms in the world in terms of statistics. This is every single statistic of his in every nuance of the game since he started at New England Revolution, moved into college to now. And it does it all on average, so I can kind of see where the best time of his career was. I can ask him why that was the best time in his career. What was it like personally for him? What was he doing in his training environment? To try and emulate that. That's what we want to try to do. We want to try and bring that to life so that we can continue to get the best out of them. And I say this to people all the time. When we get them on the call and we start showing them this is where we have them. Because I know more about these players than they'll ever know. Because we've seen all the stats, we've spoken to enough people, we've seen what our eyes are telling us. Everything on here is 99% of it, they didn't even know themselves. And then they'll start really tuning into what it is that we've got to say, because you're telling them about themselves stuff that they had no idea of. And we'll start to highlight certain areas, obviously, of their game and where we feel like they do really well, where we feel like they can improve. And we'll do this in possession, but then we'll also do it out of possession as well. And based off of these statistics and what our game model is, we will then start to show them clips of where we feel like they can help us. So this is a really good example here. Like, people think a forward is just scoring goals, but there's so much more to it. So we'll talk to them about being an option that we can use to connect the play from one side to the other, which he does really well. Obviously, same thing in here, an option that we can use, again, to exploit spaces either in behind them or around them. And then we show him what he does best. And I think you can probably tell at the end of this clip here, the type of player or athlete that we're bringing in. He's a pretty special, incredible talent. And I'll do my one in a minute. But yeah, we always want to show them what they do really well. He's a forward, he scores goals well, but he scores different types of goals. So that one was very different to this one. And as forwards, again, I won't bore you with the soccer side, but we've got to make sure that we have forwards who can score all different types of goals. They can't be predictable. So he can score the nice one, the first one that we saw. He can score the tap-ins here, and he can also score the really ugly ones. And I say to my forwards all the time, that there counts the same amount as the one you saw earlier when he was doing the flips. So they're going to be able to do everything. And what we're doing is we're trying to bring in players that can do the ugly and the beautiful, because we're going to need both throughout the season. And then we'll show them what that looks like in terms of our play. So this is us playing through the forward and connecting, and then local product, Alec Kalanjian scoring. So we'll show them how their play connects to our play and so on. And then we'll go against the ball. And this is the thing that I'm really passionate about, because if you're a player that only wants to play when you have the ball, then you need to find somewhere else to play. The average in a 90-minute game for a soccer player is in possession of the ball is between 2 and 3 minutes. So what they're doing for the other 87 minutes tells me everything I need to know. And this is all the statistics in terms of what they're doing for the other 87 minutes. And again, if they're not hitting certain KPIs, key performance indicators, then we're not interested. We also look at it and go, well, this is probably something that within our system and in our structure, we can improve. With our training environment, we can improve. So what we're trying to do is not only take the finished product, because they probably wouldn't be here, we're trying to take products and turn them into what we believe we can turn them into. And then again, we'll do the same thing. We'll look at certain things that we feel like that they do well and that we can improve, where our principles are in terms of where we want to try and win the ball back and recover possession. And then we'll take them through them doing it in good areas. So again, for you guys looking at some of these clips, it looks really basic, really simple, but usually the basic and simple things are the most important things. So we'll highlight those areas as much as possible as well. And then we'll wrap it up with why them? What are we looking for? Why them? Well, we need a player that can defend and attack, obviously. We need a player that's really brave, because my overwhelming soccer philosophy is I want the ball, which means I want my team to have the ball. I don't want us running cross country, otherwise we just go play run cross country. So we want to have the ball. So we need players that are brave enough to have the ball. And it's amazing, I know, but there are certain soccer players out there that actually don't want the ball. They'd rather just do the other stuff. For us, that doesn't really mix. And also, you've got to be brave enough to do it in front of 6,000 to 7,000 people. So we've got to bring players in that can do that. They've got to have experience in big moments. So they might have played in national championship games, won national championships in the NCAAs. They might play professionally in other countries. Every game for Dothan is going to be a big game. There's a big target on our back this year in terms of everybody knows what's coming. Everybody knows what the home games are like in terms of the atmosphere and so on. And then my job ultimately is not to just look at the team in terms of the here and now. I've got to look at the future as well. So we've got to look at players and products that we feel like can continue to grow with us. My dream is to make sure that we're getting a lot of players back every single season and not have a massive turnover, because I think that means that we're developing those players, number one, so we're doing our job. That means that they absolutely love it here, okay? And ultimately, those are two really, really good things. And then finally, obviously, to end the recruiting process, if they do sign, I'll send them a welcome email. So that'll be the welcome, and again, always highlight the responsibility that they now have and who they're representing. We'll go through all of the detail of what their contract looks like and that commitment, and we'll send that all through within 48 hours of them committing. Most of them, what's really nice this year and a big difference this year to last year, and I think that this says a lot about people. Last year, a lot of the players, when they were committing through their agents. This year, a lot of players, when they've committed, are calling me directly. And that says everything I need to know about the person that I'm dealing with. I'm very much a face-to-face, or if you're in another country, a phone call. Don't do it through someone. I think that says a lot about the person, and I think that says a lot about the culture that we're really creating, and maybe some of the lessons that we learned from last year as well. We'll send them an information packet, and that's just to get all their information for the front office. Porter does an incredible job. Mackie does an incredible job of making sure that once they are with us, the onboarding process is something that's really simple and really clean. Obviously, they'll go through the registration for the league. Some of these players obviously are coming from different countries all over, so they have to have their international cards reinstated for the United States and for us. So that's a process that takes a few weeks to a month. We will then consult with them. We will set up a second meeting and create an IDP, which is an individual development plan. So we'll go through what they want to achieve within the next 3 months, and we'll do it in 3-month increments. There'll always be a couple of things they want to achieve behaviorally. My background is I've got 2 master's degrees in psychology, so I'm massive into the behavioral side. But then we'll also do 2 things that we want them to try to achieve within the playing side as well. So we'll highlight those, and then we have a coach specifically that will take charge of those IDPs and keep them on the straight and narrow throughout that process. We'll obviously talk to them about arrival dates. We're dealing with a lot of different people in a lot of different situations. So when they arrive for training camp is obviously really important. And then we'll send them out a fitness program that's very detailed. It's got all the videos and everything linked to it. So there is absolutely no chance that they should be coming in not ready to go and have everything that they need. And then if none of this works, then we always show them this video. Don't think it will. Oh, no. What's the internet here?
What's the internet here? The internet. What is
WRC guest.
WRC here?
Anyway, well, we can get this video out to you, but essentially what it is, and this happened last.
The best part.
It's the best
Yeah,
part.
the best part.
Essentially what it is it's our social media team and everybody does an unbelievable job of like highlighting every game and making sure that those memories are there. And every single game we will have this type of video. So what they'll come to realize is if everything I'm saying seems too good to be true or seems like it could be a lie or fabricated, they'll come to kind of realize it's not that good. Everybody see that? It's not letting me open. So that's everything that we go through recruiting wise, and hopefully you can at least get an idea of my passion for this project and for the people here that have just been incredible to myself, my family, my staff. So yeah, thank you very much for allowing me to come in today and bring that to life a little bit. If you've been to a game or you've been a fan, please continue. This is going to be a special year, and if you haven't, we would absolutely love you to come out and become a new fan, and yeah, come and enjoy your Saturday nights or Tuesday nights with us. We won't let you down. Thank you.
I figured out something else for the water gallon thing. Oh, the water bottle gallon? Oh, yeah. I think I can do that. Yeah, I'm not sure if we run that or anything. I'm the water guy. No meeting next week, President's Day. Board members, we got a board meeting straight after this upstairs. I'll see you in a few minutes. If we can, let's stand for the weight test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? and will be beneficial for all concerned. God bless you and have a great day.